All right, 4 days from Halloween, we are going to skip the layup joke. It is the scariest thing the guy across from me. The scariest thing right now is playing defense across from Drake Maye, who, I don't know. I feel like we said enough about, and it's week 8, but we're going to do more here today because the whole talk about MVP, it's for real now. We're halfway through the season. He's not going anywhere. Neither is the unfettered, unceasing, unwavering, unshakable, unrivaled, underpaid, uncomplicated CLNS Media Network, of which, of course, Pat's Interference is a proud member. Are you? I think I'm like 9 toes in with the MVP talk, and it's more to do with the calendar, not to do with Drake Maye, who everyone has their own advanced stats, and you pick them, and he's 1 or he's 2 or he's 3 or even the basic ones. Where are you? How many toes in are you on Drake Maye, NFL MVP at the midway point?
I think I'm all in. I think all 10 toes. I think 10 fingers. And you know what? Last week we sat here, this very place, and the big question was, are they any good? What was that? How did you phrase it? You just said,
how good are they? No, I knew they were good. You gave me, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm in. They're good. They're doing everything you're supposed to be doing now. You beat the crap out of bad teams, double-digit wins, kneeling on the football at the end of games. Like I've had a hard time getting past the whole schedule thing. And I mean, that's still going to be in my brain somewhere, but like, what more can they do? They can't do anymore. They won at Buffalo when we thought they'd give them a game, but we weren't sure that they could push them that far and maybe cross over the finish line. They did. Then they handled a potential, sort of pitfall game in New Orleans. Like there's a chance to be kind of flat there. That's not the greatest place to play. Nope. Handled that, win. And now bang, bang, stack big wins over the Titans and the Browns. And like, yeah, if they beat the Falcons by 30 on Sunday, I wouldn't be surprised.
I'm so glad I did not give in to this gnawing pit of anxiety that like just kind of hung around in my stomach all week. I was like, I don't know, the Browns, like top 5 defense, Myles Garrett versus Jared Wilson and Will Campbell. I don't like this. But then the game starts. Anxiety's like, hey, look at me. Look at the scoreboard. 7-3, 7-6. Yeah. And then it's 9-7 at halftime. And let me tell you what happened after at halftime. Drake Maye throws 3 touchdowns in the third quarter. He does not throw an incompletion the rest of the way. They lead by 3 scores like that. And I'm tweeting things like it's 2018 again or 2016 or 2014. Haha, there's a whole quarter to go for this Patriots football game that we already know is over. And the Browns on offense, let's be clear, like we're drawing dead. And they knew it in the second quarter when they called a flea flicker and then a double pass all within the same 4-play span in the second quarter. That's just we give up, we surrender. We have a lead and we stink so bad. We know this is not going to last. In fact, we stink so bad, the lead has expired already. But what won this game was the best side of the ball, their best player right now. But we'll get to Christian Gonzalez later. And yeah, I'm with you. Like, look, I don't have a vote. I don't know what I would do now. I'm glad there's more football, but like the May MVP conversation is real. And the conversation now is about whether they're Super Bowl contenders. So you tell me, which is more real? The candidacy for him to win MVP or them being contenders, legit contenders for the Super Bowl?
So the candidacy for him to be MVP, and I say this because I think they're clearly now, barring anything unforeseen from a health perspective or just something just dramatically falls apart, that they are a double-digit win team. And I sat there and we talked about the MVP thing. I've talked about it on my podcast, the All-32 as well. And so when you look at the last 10 years of the MVP, first of all, there hasn't been it's 2012 was the last running back, last non-quarterback to win the MVP. That was Adrian Peterson. It's been quarterbacks ever since. And what's become the common thread is 12, 13, 14 wins. You have to be in that range. You have to be a 1 or a 2 seed. And if they keep stacking these wins, which again, the schedule shakes up like they can do this, then they are going to be at the 12 win range. And if they're the 2 seed, they win the division, like unless Mahomes is playing awesome by all accounts. I know it looked rough in the beginning, but even then people were like, no. What he's doing, what he has is pretty impressive. And now he's sort of taken off. But when you stack those numbers against the numbers that Drake's putting up, he's right there in the conversation. He's absolutely no question. As what often happens with these awards, sometimes it takes a year, right? Like you're really good this year, but next year, if you're still that good, now all of a sudden you've entered into the conversation with all the voters and the national public, and everybody's into it. Whereas sometimes when you're young and you're new, it takes a little while. Like it's like you have the breakthrough, and then you have to have the breakthrough again the next year, and that's when you get it. But like to me, that's all silly stuff. It is. If you look at it, like you can go like Pro Bowl. Like we can laugh about the Pro Bowl, right? Like I think the Pro Bowl is a joke because Mac Jones makes the Pro Bowl, and guys.
Well, Drake made it last year, and he started half of the year. And look, when we talk about this, by the way, and I say I have 9 toes in, I just want to remind folks, like I was here declaring him a franchise quarterback when he was still at the University of North Carolina. And when I tweet things about like, hey, he's got unbelievable numbers, and I think the man coverage stuff, which we'll get into, is probably where teams are going to go with him because this has been a pick your poison. Poison, by the way, all of them bad. Okay, you're just trying to pick the one that's going to harm you the least. That we'll get into the man coverage stuff in a second. But like, look, I don't know. I think it's almost the opposite, right? Because the only 2 people ahead of him, granted, to support your argument, Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen. There's always the voter fatigue, which you talk about silliness of like, oh, we don't want to vote for him again. But baked into those odds are not the stats that are underlying their season right now. It's the expectations and the understanding of what they've done before. And if Drake continues to play like this, I don't see how he doesn't win, which is to say also that would be the most accurate season ever, according to Next Gen Stats. You would set a bunch of Patriots records, including some he's already breaking by Tom Brady. And I don't think it'll continue at this pace. But even throttling down 10% has him in the conversation with the 2 of the 3 best quarterbacks in the league.
Is insane. It's not, for as much as we liked his potential, I've said it a million times, I'll say it again. Like I thought he was going to be this whole offensive thing was going to click in the second half of the year. Get comfortable with Josh. We saw it in the summer, and you were like, some things I don't love. And that first game, same thing, things I don't love. The Pittsburgh game, there it is, 7 minutes, 11 seconds into the podcast where I was able to work that in. But I mean, it's been absurd. It is literally week over week. I'm like, I was sitting here getting ready for another thing I'm about to do, and I was like, what's my favorite throw that he's made this year? And I just, off the top of my head, just started writing down throws. And like, I'm like 12 deep without even like having to, like, it's just like, oh, and that throw, and then that throw. Like, you don't even have to, like, I didn't have to think about it. It just, they're all popping up in my brain. Like, oh, that was awesome. But this one was pretty good. Like, you just, it's happening. It's all happening. I keep saying it. It's all happening.
It's happening. Let's talk about them as contenders, because I think the MVP case it is definitely more real than the contender case. But let's make the contender case anyway, because like you said, they're 6-2. They're going to win double-digit games. This is a wide open AFC, pending whatever the Chiefs do. Basically, as we speak, I think they're about to kick off on Monday Night Football. Not that anyone should stray from us to find out. They're going to win. They're playing the Commanders, who stink. But the point is this. If you have a coach and you have a quarterback, you got a chance. Okay, everyone knows this. The things around them that need to rise to their level are the run game, which has now had back-to-back 175-yard games, and this last one being against the best run defense in the league. You have your pass defense, which, of course, we know the run defense is a given now. It's top 10. They're holding Quinshon Judkins at 19 yards. Your pass defense just got back its best player, who is now finally at the peak of his powers after 4 weeks of being back on the field, 4 or 5 weeks of being back on the field. Holds Jerry Jeudy catchless, okay? And your pass rush, which could use a little bit of help, but is only continuing to get better. We're like, I had them charted for a 37% pressure rate against the Browns. Dylan Gabriel only goes down twice. Okay, fine. 37% is going to get it done against a lot of good teams. So I don't know. Like, there are weaknesses, and their talent doesn't match up with your Chiefs and your Eagles and your Lions, and you go on down the list, the Rams probably. But there's makings here of a team that if continues to get better, it's, we said at the open. I didn't say it. Unassailable. We'll throw it out. But the CLNS Media Network and the Patriots case to be contenders if this continues even on a very slight upward trajectory.
Yeah, I mean, the Vrabel's talked about this quite a bit in recent weeks, and you've seen it he's talked about it to us in press conferences, but you've also seen it with behind the scenes stuff in the locker room about, like, there are signs of complementary football. We're getting parts of it. Like, we haven't sustained it for 4 quarters. And so that's the thing. Like, talking to Milton Williams after the game yesterday, and he's like, yeah, my expectations have changed because they're seeing what they're doing. I asked Kairos Tonga that today. Same thing. He's like, we still haven't played our best football yet. And yet here we are doing these things. Teams can't run on us. As you mentioned, the pass coverage, especially with Gonzalez becoming Gonzalez again, it's like all these pieces are falling into place. And if your quarterback can stay on, as you said, doesn't even have to be this kind of heater, but if it's even a 10% decrease, that's still better than most quarterbacks are playing. And when you have all those things together, like, you can get a home playoff game. You can win a home playoff game. You can end up on the road and be in a game with Buffalo, Kansas City, whomever, whatever the thing. Like, they're showing, at least here, October the 27th, that they have those capabilities.
Let's talk about the defense for Cleveland, because that's what this game was about, right? Just a test for Drake Maye. This was the best defense he's ever seen. It's the best player he's ever seen in Myles Garrett, who cannot say enough just because it happened, not because it was necessarily impactful in the game. The man had 5 sacks.
Yeah.
That is the most the Patriots have ever allowed to a single player in a single game ever. 5 sacks for a generational superstar who, I said in earlier episodes, I got to inform my parents, hey, this guy is really good. Oh my God, is he that much of a terror? I was like, just tune in on Sunday.
Yeah.
And they found out. But despite Myles Garrett, and despite only leading 9-7 at halftime, you could see the problem solving that the Patriots went through to unlock, which was a Cleveland defense that, in my opinion, had the right plan. Yes or no?
Oh, they definitely had the right plan. I mean, first of all, having the kind of horses they have up front, headlined by Myles Garrett, which obviously the trickle-down effect for everybody else makes everybody else better. But then press man, get in your face, like, you're as pleased as we've been with the performance of the wide receiver room. It's in moments like these where you see, like, they're still lacking a little juice on the outside. They could still use that one piece, but they still, to your point, slowly but surely they figured it out, and then they started that second half, and it was just like the misdirection, the play, that whole drive, that first drive back was a masterclass in coaching from Josh McDaniels. And by the way, when we're talking about why they won, he's up
there.
He's right up there. I mean, like, that second half in particular was those three. It was really well put together. I'm struggling to speak. It was really well put together, and great answers. And I think we heard Drake talk about it after the game. Like, at halftime, Josh was Josh. It's calm. Like, we got this. Don't worry about it. We'll figure it out. And they did.
Okay. So time now for success rates. You ready?
All right, here we go.
Oh, here we go. So Patriots are up 9-7 at halftime. And as we said, the Browns have made they've not disguised this at all. Our plan is we're going to play you straight up. We're going to beat up on your receivers. We're going to smash you in short yardage when you're running the ball. And there were ways that Josh unlocked it in the first half, and then a different way he unlocked it in the second half. But we are going to trust our front four to get pressure on Drake Maye, and they did. Here were Maye's numbers against man coverage at halftime. 3 of 8 for 68 yards and a pick with 4 sacks. 44 of those 68 yards were to Demario Douglas, who got away with just an all-time push-off of Grant Delpit, who had an all-time horrendous game, busted covers in the Austin Hooper, there goes my phone, on the 31-yard catch, and then Hunter Henry's touchdown in the third quarter. But okay, this plan is working because they've got Denzel Ward and Myles Garrett, but they also understand our best chance to limit Drake Maye is to basically hold and be physical with every single person around him, and it's working. So Josh McDaniels in the third quarter, this is the drive. They open with a play-action pass. Drake Maye scrambles for 6 yards. They're in a 2-back set. Next play, another 2-back. Their first snap of pony personnel. Okay, this is a simulated kind of triple option, but ends up just being an easy pitch, 6 yards. The pitch is designed to hold or get away from Myles Garrett, right? Because in the first half, when they were running the ball, and you could see this when Travion Henderson goes for 12 yards, and then you see him go for 18 yards. These were runs, wham runs, trap runs to make Mason Graham and Malik Collins think twice. There was even very cool run, fake pitch. You had 2 false keys on this. The fullback goes up the middle. You can watch this. This is their 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th play from scrimmage. Jack Westover says this is an inside run. Mike Onwenu pulls the opposite way, says this is an inside run. Travion Henderson is going the opposite way, off right tackle with the football. So you've got all these kind of interior keys, and you're scoring with the defensive tackles. Okay. Then you go to that drive to start the third quarter, and you have a pin and pull toss away, again, to freeze the defensive end, 27 yards. You got a double pass for 19. Now no one knows, if you're Cleveland, what the hell is going on here?
Yeah.
Except the Patriots are moving the football on a great play, by the way, that Drake Maye made, because I could tell you, I don't know if Mac has completed this pass, but Mac Jones is peeing down his leg if he is that close to getting clobbered as Drake Maye was, and happened to get clobbered on this pass that went for 19 yards. You had a speed option to the right, another get away from Myles Garrett. Just look at the defensive end. Don't block him. Just read him. Jet sweep. No one's touching you if you're on the edge and you're DeMario Douglas. And finally, a bootleg at Myles Garrett, who was unblocked. That is all the misdirection. That is the pivoting from the inside runs and the whams and the traps and the misdirection to different misdirection to handle Myles Garrett, who again had 5 sacks. That dude did his job and then some. But to unlock the man coverage by involving the corners who didn't want to tackle, Denzel Ward, very good in coverage, not a good tackler, to neutralize the pass rush, get Maye on the move, was just, you said masterclass. I completely agree.
Yeah, and I think the more time he spends with Drake and the more he works with this offense, and you asked him this question last week about, and you were proud of yourself because his answer was something you'd said 2 weeks prior, but like we don't give up on certain things because it's not working, because we're using it to set up other things, and it's all part of the plan. And so like, even if it's a 2-yard gain, it has value if we can run the boot action off it or whatever, some sort of design off it to, as you said, I felt like that drive to start the third quarter was all the Browns players were like, I don't know where it's coming from. Like, are they going to go this way? Are they going to go that way? Like, the quarterback's moving. This guy's going that motion here. And like, guys are leaking out. And do you have him? I have him. Nobody's got him. Like that was just like, he totally broke them on that drive. That the defense, Jim Schwartz, I've said this a couple times this year, but that was the moment where it felt like they could go home now. You could just walk right off the field, get on the bus, it'd get you back to Cleveland by like 8 o'clock. You could have dinner with your wife and kids. Like that's what that was. And then, quickly, a couple more drives, it was clearly over.
So I omitted this at the start when I'm just blitzing you with play descriptions, what happened when, and this and that.
You were so excited there.
Very excited.
Yeah.
The first couple of plays were you had a wham run on the second snap. The first one is, this is the part where I can't read my handwriting. If anyone could help me out here.
I've got a problem.
Look, in addition to the misdirection stuff, they're running inside zone and duo, which we know is very, very good to them in Tennessee, and sparked that question I asked Josh, being like, hey, we're 7 weeks in. Do you see this as noise? Do you see this as signal about what you're good at? A lot of football to go, don't get me wrong, but like, when do you start to kind of focus on things, as much as their identity still is, we don't have one. And he was right, because that's the part with the outside zone stuff. If you're going to run boots, you can't give up on it. But a lot of these boots started with inside zone. And it wasn't just, this looks like inside zone. It was, as we talked about last week with Matt Collins, who, was involved in a lot of 11 personnel with the 3 receivers, obviously, but also the 12 personnel. And he would motion in, and there were a couple instances where you would get these, if he was a tight end and he's 6'4", 220, whatever, you would have 3 tight ends to one side. And he would motion in this insert play where he kind of slips into the C gap as like a lead blocker. And everyone's doing this, especially with duo. But the point is, they would run those actual runs, and every single play action pass that they would throw was based on a prior run that they had shown, which sounds obvious, but it's not done across the league. It's just, we put this on tape, you'll fall for it. No, this isn't on tape. This is in your face. And then we're going to show you the same thing and do the opposite, and good luck. And it worked. Drake Maye did not have an incompletion in the second half, and they also had better man beaters. And, he hit obviously the throw to Booty and was a double move, and they picked on a backup corner. Like, everything was working, and it was as much McDaniels as it was Maye finding answers for the run game first to set up everything else. Because you just can't sit back there and do drop back or no play action, just straight drop back against the Browns.
No, you couldn't keep Drake static in the pocket like that. I mean, what Myles was doing early, didn't matter what side he was coming from, who he was coming over, he was causing havoc. There's some good good pieces alongside him along that line, and they were giving the Patriots a bit of a fit. So when you start to move his spot, if you will, guys get tired. As I said, they don't know where. Is he there? Is he somewhere else? I couldn't find him on a couple of occasions. On the touchdown pass to Hunter Henry, like that jet sweep fake to Diggs, then a fake handoff to Ramondre, then the boot go find where Myles Garrett was. He was buried deep inside, and like that was his edge, and no one was there. I mean, if Drake wanted to, he could have walked it in himself, instead just flips it to Hunter for a touchdown on National Tight Ends Day.
I know. Too many national days. I'm sorry. I hit my quota, my limit.
Did you see Melissa Stark? They just made up last week National Running Backs Day. Like, I'm good.
You guys have a whole season. You have a day of the week when we get to September. That's good.
I'll do it for the tight end. Like, what are we talking about here?
Austin Hooper had a good day on National Tight Ends Day. Hunter Henry scored. Cheers to them. Couple things I want to say before I forget. Number one is Jack Westover, who I had been very hard on here, and has had a hard time since the Mariners got knocked out. Washington native or played there. He said in the locker room, I give up on sports the other day after they lost Game 7 of the Blue Jays. Nice guy, regular guy. They played 18% of their snaps in, I have to call it 21F personnel because instead of 21 with a fullback versus just pony personnel, 63% success rate.
Hey.
Huge for them. You can't run all this two-back stuff and wham the way that they want to in certain trap blocks without him doing his job. This was his best game. It wasn't even close. And that helped because when they're running from 12 personnel with the 2 tight ends, a National Tight End Day, that still is not really going anywhere. No. And every team, every offense, every defense has stuff to fix, like slow starts, which we'll get to later. But that was so big for them because they only ran 1 play from pony personnel, a couple from 22. Both of those had 100% success rate. The difference, though, was all of the explosives. You had rushes of 12, 18, 9's not explosive, but a big successful run. Then passes, which were set up by those runs, 31, 6, and then the 28-yard scramble that Maye had against the blitz. And that was the other answer for all the man coverage, which, look, again, he is a pick-your-poison player. When you play great players, they are inevitable. The only question is how much is the dam going to break? How much water are you going to take on? And how much have you been able to build up a second wall to insulate yourself? But Drake Maye beat that man-to-man coverage. I just think overall, and this is the interesting part because I think we've covered everything about Maye, right? I mean, the toughness, accuracy, like it's all insane. It's largely the same stuff. But 8 of 13, just over 100 yards, 5 sacks was telling because he just didn't have anywhere to go with the ball. A pick. It's just a little like, look, again, those are decent stats, but they're way lower than what he's normally doing. And that's the same game plan Belichick had for Mahomes, had for Tom Brady when he came back in 2021. And a lot of these elite quarterbacks, it's like, look, you just got to make tight window throws. You're good. You could do that. But we're going to make you do it over and over and over again if we got the horses.
I mean, to me, that would be sort of the approach going forward, too. Like, I would stop letting him beat me with his legs as much as I can possibly do that.
Yeah, just keep it high, like just someone over the middle.
Yeah, right. Because it just like that chunk play, that 28 yards where he had was it 16 on the first drive when he got out. Like that's just they're backbreaking. And he talked about it last week. He knows it. Like that's as we talk about the balance and like you want to protect yourself. And he's like, you feel it when you make a play like that, when they think they have you stopped on 3rd and 7, and all of a sudden I come out of there and I'm running down the field and I've got the first down and then some. You feel the energy from the other team going, we did everything right. We had the receivers covered. We had this, that, the other thing. We got pressure. And then this guy, this 6'4", 230-pound dude gets out of the pocket and he's doing his Josh Allen impression, getting out in the field and making big plays and breaking backs.
The 28-yarder, by the way, was on a blitz, and the Browns did not blitz a whole lot. But that was like you had the numbers. You just didn't contain them. And again, we all know that the risk of playing man-to-man coverage, this has been true against Mahomes forever. But you can rush 3 and you can have 2 small droppers and then someone, lone single high safety. You can have 2 deep and then 1 lone if you're rushing 3. Or you can alternate. You can disguise. Like they didn't do a ton of disguise here, less than I thought the Browns would. You kind of just played straight up. And again, it worked. You go to that 9-7 score at halftime. Completely legit. In addition to some good red zone defense. But it's just something I'm keeping my eye on because entering this week, Atlanta played the 6th most snaps of cover 1 any team in the league. They're coming in on Sunday. After that is going to be the Bucs, and they do a variety of crazy dark art defensive stuff like just blitzes and angles and disguises. James White came on months ago and said Todd Bowles was the one who gave him the biggest headache in blitz pickup, and he is, I don't know, like he's on the pantheon, right? Blitz pickup, at least in New England. So anyway, just stuff that smart teams, good teams coming up in the schedule are going to look at and see if they can not exploit, but just okay, if we can get by, if we can contain him. For some tighter throws, because Stephon Diggs had 3 catches for 14 yards and the touchdown. But it's a bad day for him based on his season today.
Yeah, and I kind of figured with the way that they were going to play man that this would be a good game for Diggs in that regard. And he looked like he didn't have a ton of juice in his legs, which I found interesting because I think Vrabel talked in the post game and then again today, Monday, about some of these veterans who've been practicing when we need them to practice and they're out there every week. Like, I got to start figuring out a way to manage it more. And he didn't. Well, he was talking about Diggs in one of them. I think it's clear that maybe he felt like Steph didn't have the same kind of juice in his legs that he had prior. So something to sort of monitor going forward. But when you're hitting like that, Mac Hollins leads you in receptions. And like when I looked at Mac Hollins' 7 catches, I didn't say he did anything extraordinary on his 7 catches. It just, he ran his route. They put the ball on him. Okay, catch. Beautiful. I'm not trying to like ding him, but it was like, you go back and you say, wow, someone had 7 catches for 89 yards. You're a stud. And it was like,
right place, right time.
Yeah, he was fine. He was fine.
Yeah. One last point on the man coverage piece, because I know people are like, oh, why don't you just play, cover 2? I mean, Drake just said outright the whole throw is his favorite one. But between the flat defender and the deep half along the sideline, Matt Collins had another catch on that, by the way. This is their 4th drive. So this is before they kick their 2nd field goal. It's in the 2nd quarter. And for whatever reason, coming off that interception, which was against man coverage, and they had a sack on the play before that interception, more man coverage, another sack before that, and then an incompletion to Stephon Diggs on a slant against man coverage. Jim Schwartz goes, let's play some zone. Here's how that went. 31 yards to Austin Hooper. Thank you, Grant Delpit, for the busted coverage very much. The corner route to Matt Collins, 21 yards, easy, like this. And then a 6-yard pass to Matt Collins on 2nd and 12 for 6 yards to make it a manageable 3rd and 6. Now, Drake Maye got sacked after that, which you'll be shocked to know was because they were playing man coverage and he had nowhere to go with the ball in the tight red zone.
Yeah.
But the point is, like, it's just there's no one solution. He's too good. The dam will break. He's inevitable. I just think this is something other teams are going to look at and go, if we disguise it a little bit better, if we play our matchups, like we can do something too. One last stat for May. Do you want to guess how many yards he had on passes longer than 10 yards down the field?
How many yards?
How many yards? So I'll tell you how many yards he had total. He was 8 of 10, by the way, in a touchdown. I'll give you that. So the tougher throws that he had to make, 8 of 10 with a touchdown. How many yards?
168.
199 out of 282.
Yeah.
Just not fair.
It hasn't been.
It's not fair.
A deep, intermediate, short hasn't mattered in the last 5 weeks at all.
Yeah. You know what we did not do is the big 5 factors. So let's hit those really quickly. Yeah. Turnovers. Patriots 2, Browns 2. Call it even. Explosive play rate. Not even. Patriots 13.8, Browns 5.8%. That 13.8%, I would have to look this up. I would be surprised if that's not a season high. And when you look at their plays 10 yards or longer, I mean, they had 13 through the 3rd quarter. Success rate, Patriots were 49%, Browns 30. 3-0. Just how often are you staying with the Chains, staying on schedule? 30% of the time. Red zone efficiency, Patriots 2 of 6. This kept this from really being a blowout. Browns 2 of 3. Defensive pressure rate, 39% for the Patriots. I had the Browns at 50. PFF had 12 out of 34 dropbacks for May. I do not know how many of these lovely Shipyard Pumpkinhead beers that person at PFF had when they did that. Next Gen Sets had 14. I had 17. You could talk me to 16, maybe 15 if I have another one of these bad boys. Not going below that. Let me tell you.
I had 16. So we've had not like a massive disparity, but we've had some differences in numbers. I had 16, and you could have actually talked me up on a couple of them. So as opposed to the other direction, yeah, I don't know where sometimes I just don't get it. I remember actually having an actual exchange on Twitter with one of their people who was like, Riley Reef. Remember old Riley? And they played the preseason game in Green Bay.
Yeah.
Riley was a disaster. And there were like 3 out of 5 plays where Riley gave up pressure. Like when the quarterback feels your guy beating you and has to move, and not because he's squirrely, because if he stands there, he's going to get squashed. And they had him for 0 pressures. And I was like, you guys don't know what you're doing. And that's not fair. But it was in one of those moments like, what are you talking about? Like what? Because so many people, and this has been a conversation that's happened quite a bit from a lot of ex-players, JJ Watt leading the charge. It's like so many people now look to this as the Bible, and there are plenty of good things that come out of what they do. No questions asked about it. It's truth. But the grading and some of this, like, that's just, we weren't watching the same game. I don't know what you're looking at because it's plain as day. So it irritates me.
Anyway. I think I'm echoing, by the way. You getting that? Double trouble? The feedback?
You're fine.
Lucky you. You get to hear me twice. No, you're right. Look, we've made that before. And look, some of the stats that I pull here and in the Herald Review, which will go up in the morning every Tuesday, you can read it. It has some details I will forget or omit here. Go see it, review it, do whatever you want with it. You can print it out and throw it in the trash for all I care. I pull stuff from them, missed tackles being one of them, tackles that are broken, just stuff that saves me time from charting. So, yeah, you're right. But we just have our disagreements. Let's do the stuff everyone missed on offense because we've talked about Jack Westover.
Yeah.
Who people missed. Drake Maye, who people did not miss. Stephon Diggs. The offensive line, 50% pressure rate. How about Travion Henderson?
Like good plan for him. We're able to get him outside. He ran through contact for the first time. He creased a couple runs that we saw in the summer, and we haven't we haven't. I wasn't gonna say basically, we haven't seen since the regular season started. So good plan for him. Very effective in his usage. Damn that fumble at the end though. Like just really a good game, something to build on, and he's a pretty confident kid, and I'm sure you got to hang on to the football there.
You do, and it's the location, man. Location. The Stevenson fumble against, I don't remember who they played, but he loses the ball right at the goal line, week 3, I think it was.
Was that? Pittsburgh. Right.
Oh, yeah. Thank you. Look, you can't do it, but you especially can't do it there. That's 6 points you're taking off the board. Granted, it's a blowout, this and that. He has 75 rushing yards, which more than doubled his previous single game high for the season. Again, apologies to anyone in the fantasy community who's heard it, which is probably not that many. Oh, never mind. It's about half of you because of how good this kid was. And we talked about MVP of training camp. So did you give most valuable player to Mike Vrabel? Was that the episode we did that?
Yeah. Most valuable person.
How long ago was that, by the way? Because I was 99% jokingly calling him Drake Maye at the time. And that is like sacrilege right now, I'd fully admit.
Seems like a lifetime ago, quite frankly.
Yeah. He broke 5 tackles. Reminder, Stevenson in 3. Shout out to PFF for the stat. 44 yards after contact for Reminder Stevenson. Do you remember how many he had total?
34.
Oh, very good. Yeah, so he had 10 more yards as soon as he got touched versus crossing the line of scrimmage in what has now become a guessing game podcast. The Henderson stuff, look, the fumble cannot be excused. I am encouraged by what I saw because the best version of this offense includes him as your plan C or another weapon that you're involving when teams want to play man coverage. And as good as he was as a receiver in the summer, that's got to come back because then you were looking at an offense. Forget the quarterbacks, pick your poison. There's enough here, booty downfield, Stephon Diggs over the short middle, the tight ends just to throw, jump balls, and Matt Collins with the jump balls. And then you have a running back with 4.3 speed and soft hands once he finally gets his head on straight. I mean, good luck.
Yeah, and I thought the plan with him was good in the sense that, and he showed he could in the summer, right? That he could run between the tackles and he could run over the guards in the A gap, do that sort of thing. And now a little bit more getting him outside and just get those legs free, start feeling good, and then one cut and go, right? And he's so fast that he builds up a lot of strength when you're trying to tackle him when he's at top speed, right? It's just, that's not an easy tackle. And I think you saw that a couple times on Sunday.
Yeah. All right. Offensively, look, here's the pressure rundown that I had for the offensive lineman, and people will disagree. You don't have to pick on PFF anymore, but next gen stats, all of this. I had Jared Wilson for 3. Nice variety here. Sack, QB hit in a hurry. Morgan Moses, sack, 2 hurries. Will Campbell, 2 sacks. That was it, which also sounds so apologist of me. But they're against Myles Garrett, and both with help from Hunter Henry, which is kind of a timing thing. He had a lot of help even against players not named Myles Garrett, which was interesting to me. And I actually did not mention in the Herald Review tomorrow. Mike Onwenu I had down for 2. Onwenu was also involved in a sack where he's just caught in a stunt and he throws this man into Morgan Moses, who has his hands full with Myles Garrett.
Yeah.
Morgan Moses does not need more on his plate than Myles Garrett, okay? But he got more, got knocked over, and then Myles Garrett is suddenly free. I don't know what to do with that sack. I don't even know if the coaches assigned that one way or another. So I put it on team, 1 sack as well on Drake Maye. Any major disagreements there?
No, none. I mean, I had Moses for one other pressure. He looked a little slow at times. Again, just sort of on the theme about Diggs. Not that he's like this fast, explosive athlete, but there were just a couple times they had him on one snap, and a couple times he did get down and pick off a linebacker at the second level.
Pin pulls outside.
Yeah. But there were a couple times where it was just like Moses's legs don't want to go. I don't want to do that right now. I'm a little tired. Let's not call that again.
You'll notice of all the offensive linemen, I did not mention Garrett Bradbury, who I've yet to find the angle. Anyone on the beat listening to this, do not steal this earmuffs for 10 seconds. I want to write about that guy because he has been so far better and way better than anyone gave him credit for or he deserved before the season. Oh, you're last in pass blocking at PFF. And I relayed some of this. It was important. I never thought he was losing his starting job. He has been he has to be. I'm not studying center play. Let's just get that out there. Let's be honest with the people as we always are. Has to be one of the better centers in the league this year. 0 pressures. Did get turnstiled a couple times as a run blocker. I will say that.
He did.
But that dude, he's having a good year. And he's such a great presence in the locker room. Forget talking to the media. Just watching him being around the guys, the veteran advice, the leadership, the relationship with Drake Maye. There's something there, Garrett Bradbury. Maybe it's Falcons week. Maybe it's Jets week. I don't know. I'm going to come talk to you. We're going to have a good chat. I'm going to write a good story.
And he'll give you good answers.
Yeah. Which includes, by the way, hey, why does the run game work? Because I overheard him talking with Doug. Oh, you guys still keep talking about us, so that's why. It's like, a smiling middle finger straight at us. Did we miss anything about what the people missed on offense? Kayshon Boutte, the double move. That was against Dom Jones, who they just put in for Tyson Campbell, who left to get checked for concussion. Good awareness about personnel, a route they had worked on in practice. He's just automatic downfield. Amazon is at a crow. Otherwise, I would do this happily and eat more as we did in our debut episode. But he's been fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, I think we've hit it all. Like I did think both guards did a good job getting to the second level. I actually thought Onwenu moved. This might have been the best I've seen him move this year, which, something to sort of file away because I think he's been pretty solid generally this year. It just seems like when he makes a mistake, it's happened on like a 3rd and 1 or, it's that sort of thing down by the goal line. You're missing a block, the things that can't happen.
I think he's on 3rd and 1.
Yeah. But I thought he moved really well in this game. And it's, when you're already halfway through the season, basically, and it looks like his game is rounding into a even better form than it's been in, which I think is a good thing.
Yeah, it was 3rd one. And they had this deep incompletion to Boutte on a slot fade, which was among those like, hey, they don't have great answers passing the ball against man coverage. Running the ball, though, hat tip to Josh. It was a diverse run game. Did the stuff that you did well, had counters to that. You had counters to what they were doing. Just really well done by everybody. Also, the second level, like you were talking about, just the way that we talked about that over and over and over again, just so much better. Even on the backside, like no pursuing blockers, chasing people down, just really, really well done. All right, one thing we have not talked about is our old friends at Prize Picks, who were probably a little bit mad at me because let me tell you, I went 3-0 this week, baby. I had Quinshon Judkins less than whatever the number was, I think 61.5 yards.
Yeah.
I had Ramondre Stevenson, sorry, pal, less than rushing yards. And I also had Drake Maye more than 199.5 passing yards. Because when you just looked at the run defenses, I'm sorry, this game was never going to be a track meet on the ground for those bigger dudes breaking tackles. Patriots have fixed their tackling issues. The Browns have a really good run defense, but it was Trayvon Henderson and Drake Maye who did most of the damage. Oh, and Drake Maye is still on fire, so of course he was going to get 200 lousy passing yards. If you look ahead to the Falcons game and you think you have any kind of feelings about players, go to Prize Picks. You can do it today. You can do it tomorrow. You can play in the NBA. You can play in hockey, baseball, whatever you want, so long as baseball is still around. This is how simple it is. You pick players and you pick stats just like I did. They've got all the players and all the stats you could possibly want. Okay, then you go more than or less than. And if you don't like the number, sometimes they'll even let you change it. Okay, this is how simple it is. It is the simplest, easiest, Best way to win money while you play sports. It is completely up to you how much you put down or not. The players you pick, the numbers you pick, you do not get this freedom and flexibility anywhere. Only at PrizePicks, America's #1 daily fantasy sports app. I play it. Mike plays it. We text way too much that our wives would probably like to know about PrizePicks, but we're 3-0. What are we supposed to do? And what are you supposed to do? You are supposed to download the app today. Use code CLNS to get $50 in lineups. Once you play your first $5 lineup, that's code CLNS to get $50 in lineups. Once you play your first $5 lineup, download PrizePicks today. PrizePicks, it's good to be right. Defensively, I think the Patriots would love to get right on these opening series. And people are now asking me. It's one of the more popular questions. We're going to get to mailbag questions a little bit later. Why do they insist on just hitting snooze for the first series? What's going on?
I mean, it's a great question that they haven't been able to answer. I mean, Vrabel revealed in the pregame interview with Zolak that they had Ben McAdoo, Slickback Mac, as he called him, put together a 15-play script in hopes that they would, like, hey, he's going to throw some stuff at us and let's see if we can deal with it. Well, I don't know how it went in practice, but I can tell you it didn't go well in the game. Again, you look at the numbers that Cleveland put up offensively. You've run through just how inept their offense was. And that first drive, they looked like world beaters, bing, bam, boom down the field, couple explosives, or borderline explosive, just killing the Patriots. And once again, kind of leaving people like, we waited a month to see you guys, and this is how you're going to play against these guys. And then, quickly figured it out as they've done, for the last 5 weeks in particular. But yeah, it's crazy. Six of the eight opponents have scored at least 3 on their opening drive. And then the numbers flip so dramatically after the initial 15-play script. It's got to be like driving them nuts, we're so close to putting it all together. Why can't we fix this one part?
So let me answer my own question, because I think big picture, and I say this to not calm people down, because you should always be calm about your favorite team. You can go nuts as much as you want. Maybe not in my mentions, but, however you like. Every team has something they need to fix, that they need to solve, that they're not good at, and they have a hard time explaining when they can't fix it week after week after week. This goes through the Chiefs. It goes through the Eagles. You go to any fan base, any team, the Colts even. Why are you undefeated? There's stuff there everyone's trying to fix. This is the Patriots thing. In this particular instance, this is what happened. They got the Browns to a 3rd and long. They played man coverage, and Marte Mapu gave Harold Fannin more room than any girlfriend who's ever asked me for space, which I've always abided by, and more space than they ever needed. He backed off halfway to Sharon and Walpole. And so Harold Fannin runs a little shallow cross. And Marte Mapu gives chase and gets picked off by a crossing route. Falls down. Kind of like Carlton Davis just stumbled for no reason in Tennessee. First down Browns. 2 plays later, it's an explosive run. Just a jet sweep. Marcus Jones misses a tackle. Greg Woodson misses a tackle. And then you have the wrinkle, the shot play, which every team seems to hit in these opening drives, to Harold Fannin, who is in the backfield, their leading receiver and a rookie tight end, as a fullback. And they bulked up, and we're going to run the ball. This is what we do. We're in the Browns. Not this time. Play action, a corner out from him out of the backfield, which felt like was in vogue a couple of years ago, right? All these running back corner outs. Kareem Hunt got the Patriots with one in 2017 in the opener.
Yep. And
he runs one of those, and Robert Spillane, and everyone has their hair on fire, and they're going for the quarterback, and no one has Harold Fannin Jr. So that's what happened. There's a mix of basic silly mistakes in coverage, often in man-to-man. There's the boot, quick game, low-hanging fruit that every team reaches for and gets, and it tastes sweet, by the way. And then the wrinkles in the shot plays. They go, this will work. We haven't done this yet. And they always execute. The thing I would care about more, though, if I'm a Patriots fan, is that they are more or less lights out for the rest of the game. And I know these are bad teams. Is that homerific of me?
But that's what I was saying in the beginning when you're like, are you all in? It's like they're doing what they need to do. And in some cases going above and beyond without they emasculated Kevin Stefanski and Dylan Gabriel. I'll be real. I like Gabriel coming out, and I thought if he was 4 or 5 inches taller because of his accuracy and his ability to play on time, that he probably would have been a first-round quarterback. Seeing him in person, and I saw him at the Senior Bowl, but seeing this, his arm is just, poopy is what his arm is.
No, it's a little work on.
And I just don't know. I just don't know how Stefanski can come back off the bye and say, he's my starting quarterback. Now, granted, they traded their veteran quarterback to Cincinnati, and Shador is the other player in that equation, and did not have a good summer at all. So, looks like they spent 2 picks on quarterbacks, and they might not have one out of this group. So they'll be back in the market again next year.
Okay, so the Browns stink. We know that, right? Like, second worst offense by DVOA, bottom 2. Okay, so either second worst or worst. I don't remember which is which, rushing and passing. That's how bad they are. The Patriots give up that touchdown, 6 plays, but they do bulk up. They go, we're going to play goal line personnel in the first play of the game, which means only 3 defensive backs. Everyone else is here to stop the run. That all but spooks the Browns out of deploying their own heavy personnel the rest of the game, which is already kind of a win for your coaching staff. Here are the next few drives after that touchdown series. 4 plays, 3 plays, 3 plays, 4 plays. Last Browns possession of the half. This is something I will be thinking about for weeks. They run that flea flicker. Then they run that double pass, which you've already talked about, but you cannot talk about enough. In the first half of a game, you are leading at that point to say, we can't do anything. You know what? We suck. I'm sorry. We see Dylan too. We see him every day. We see him at practice. Here's a white flag. We can't do anything with this. And Vrabel, God bless him, makes note of this after saying, oh, when they ran out of their gimmick plays, I thought we played pretty good defense. I did not expect it to go as viral as it did. 3 plays in their first drive after the second half. You had 3 plays in their drive after that, 5 plays, and then finally, this was like, oh my God, when is this over? 13 plays in garbage time for their last real meaningful drive there. And whatever. He threw a second touchdown pass to David Njoku. Craig Woodson missed it. I don't really care about that. I really care about the fact that they played 76% of their personnel in 3-corner nickel. It's exactly how they want to play. They played a ton of zone. They didn't blitz a lot. Zach Core got burned again on his opening drive blitzes, but after that got a pick and a safety when he blitzed again, and Quinshon Judkins had 19 yards. So you can pick anything from there. We already mentioned Gonzalez. That's where I'm thinking about next, but just the whole performance is what it needed to be, and they played the game they needed to play.
I don't think it can be overstated how well the run defense is played, and it's a different viewing experience for someone who's covered the Patriots for as long as I did, and for the way Bill played defense and the 2 gapping and like funnel things to the middle and like just a cluster of bodies. And this is have your edges knife in off the side, and then you're bringing up a linebacker and then a safety, and they're all getting involved, and the willingness to tackle by the smaller guys.
Yes.
And how much pride they take in it, and the physicality with which they're bringing. I mean, Marcus, I say this, it feels like every week now, Marcus lights some people up for 185-pound, 5'9" guy. Like, just absolutely throws his body headlong into plays. And yeah, he missed the tackle on the long run by Corley on the jet sweep, but like, that's the anomaly. He makes those plays in the open field over and over again. He did it on a swing pass, same sort of thing. Like, it's him and that guy. That guy makes a move. I forget whether it was Judkins or whatever. He makes a move and you miss him. There's a big gain there on the sidelines. Instead, it's a 2-yard loss. The level of physicality. Hawkins coming up. Woodson was quiet because he was more of back guy, lighthouse guy in this game. But even Gonzalez, who, it's not his strength, is to be physical at the point of attack, but he's gotten better at it. And he made a couple nice open field tackles on the edge that, like, it's a moderate gain or a short gain. And, like, I don't know, weaker cornerback who's not willing to do that, those turn into bigger plays, drive continues, so on and so forth.
But you ask the Patriots offense, how nice is it to have a corner who doesn't want to tackle or isn't very good at it? I mean, Denzel Ward, like, did a 180 on some of these pin and pull stuff in the third quarter. And he's like, oh, I don't see the ball. If I don't see it, it can't hurt me. It doesn't matter if the guy goes by me. Christian Gonzalez is not doing that. He's sticking his nose in. Yep. And you see it with Quinshon Judkins, who is just a bowling ball of a dude coming out of Ohio State before that Michigan, Ole Miss. But the point is him or Carlton Davis, who just, I think he's going to be on the show this week. I'm going to have to ask him, hey, Carlton, we know we can get through a game without one flag, right? Like, he had the third down.
Although he didn't stay down, but it was near the end of the game. He went down and he was like slow to get up. I'm like, it's every game. It's literally every game. Are you
I don't
tired?
know if PrizePicks has Carlton Davis more than or less than half a penalty, but they might consider it. Said with appreciation for his play. All right.
Yeah.
And again, we'll say
I
this
thought he was. I thought he was really good in coverage.
Yeah.
On Sunday. So,
I want to stay with Gonzalez because him being back to his old self fundamentally changes how they can play and how good they can be. When your best player is available and your best player is playing his best, that is when you can beat the best teams in the league. You were getting that from Drake Maye. Stephon Diggs has now joined the conversation offensively. Milton Williams is having a really good year. Christian Gonzalez is the other missing piece. And rank whoever else you want in the top 5, top 10. I don't care. He had his first part-time or full-time shadow of the year with Jerry Jeudy. And I didn't – look, there's a lot to get through here today. But he was there in certain passing situations, in critical downs, etc. And to see him hold Jerry Jeudy catchless and also get a target on 4th down wouldn't have been my choice. Fade in the left side of the end zone. To hold him to 0 catches says everything you need to know about where this guy is. His legs are back. He's back. And, we'll see if he gets a shadow assignment anytime coming up. But just to have him no longer be a question mark, you could have almost any other injury on defense. It's not going to match up to the impact that missing Gonzalez would have had he missed any more time after this.
Well, you mentioned when's the next time they might deploy it. If Drake London is healthy and Michael Penix is playing, which again, he didn't play last week, nor did Drake London, which helped contribute to whatever happened to Atlanta this past weekend against Miami. That'd be a really fun matchup because, as I've said many times about London, he's not my favorite kind of receiver because there's more about, not that I don't like the physicality, but he's not a great separator. But that's a guy that they go to, and Penix is unlocked to a different level. And that's one of those things where, okay, 3rd down, money down. You've got him. Carlton Davis can do the Darnell Mooney or Kyle Pitts if they split them out wide, and then you have Marcus Jones to handle, probably more Mooney than Pitts. It would make a lot of sense if they're healthy. That's how you would do it.
We took too long to get to this guy. Maybe because he was at fault on the first touchdown. I don't know. I'd have to ask him. Maybe he'd give me a straight answer. Maybe he wouldn't. But I know he grabbed an interception. I know he was diagnosing plays faster than anyone on the field on Sunday. And I know he was discouraging Dylan Gabriel from certain throws just because he got there to the spots the receiver he wanted to throw to was going. That was Robert Spillane, who it was, because of how unique it was. Or unique is an absolute. You can't have it more or less. Like PrizePicks. Robert Spillane's more missed tackles than made tackles through 2 weeks was one of my favorite stats this season. Not because I think he sucks or I want him to be bad or that to continue. It's just such an oddity. That is long, long gone. This dude has settled in. And this is an easy offense to play against. But you have him playing like that, then you got special players at every single level. The top 10 stats that I'm looking at, EPA really having the top 10 against the pass and the run. I guess okay. I'm not doubting that anymore if he's playing like this.
Well, and think about what I was just talking about in terms of how they have the edges playing the run and then the support that they're getting. A lot of it is to free him up. And he reads it so beautifully that a lot of times when it's all this, and there's that little space, guess who's in that space? Guess who's waiting for you? And there were like 3 or 4 tackles in the game. I don't know if you noticed it, where he just kind of stood there and hit the guy, and the guy just kind of slumped.
Yeah.
And it was, I was like, are you just giving up before you even get to him? Oh crap, I don't want to run into this guy again. But 14 tackles. The interception was, as he said, he's supposed to have the running back. The running back doesn't release. He undercuts the tight end. Dylan Gabriel had no idea that he was there. And then to your point thereafter, was I can't do that because that one time I did it, that guy was there and I didn't expect him to be. And he was trying to be safe with the football. So he has been double-digit tackles, right? 5 of the last 6. I believe the only game was the Titans game. I think he was light in tackles in the Titans game, but I think it's 5 of the last 6 double-digit tackles. That's what they got him for. Part of it, obviously, being a sure tackler, but diagnosing, setting guys up. We talked to Kairos Tonga today, this morning, in fact, and he was he's crazy. In a good way. He's crazy. And then he was well, he's kind of crazy off the field too. But his point was how much communication there is and telling them hey, this is coming. And, being able to relay that to them and they're making plays in front of him, keeping him clean. And then when he's clean, he's making the tackle. It's kind of funny. It's not the same type of defense, and it's not the same size of the guys that were in front of him. But Ray Lewis, when he played with Baltimore, had Tony Saragusa, rest in peace, and I forget the other guy, maybe it was Brockers. There was one other big guy in the middle. And like they did such an I don't think it was Brockers because I think Brockers played on the edge.
They had a D tackle who was in Buffalo for a bit, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's going to drive me crazy now. But like they had beef in the middle, and they took up bodies.
Sam Adams.
Yes, and they had, but so then because they were able to occupy the interior, they let this super instinctive, fast linebacker make plays and get like shooting and getting cleanly. And like Spillane's not the same kind of athlete that Ray Lewis was, but sort of the same instincts, I feel like, where he's oftentimes in the right place. You detailed it in the Pittsburgh game when they hit him with that shot down the seam, right? And then the next time they tried to run the play, he had diagnosed it, right? You even asked him the question, and he dropped back like an extra 10 yards. Rodgers had no idea that he would be there. Like, why would he be there? And because he'd seen it, and he made and he read it beautifully. And I think he diagnoses things so well and so quickly that's why he's in the middle of it. And some of the times doesn't even have to be spectacular. It's just like, 2-yard gain because of Spillane, like 3-yard gain, Spillane.
Healthy line or healthy sign of a good locker room. Let me try the third time. That is a sign of a healthy locker room, a good sign of a healthy locker room. When you have a teammate who can publicly to the media say, yeah, so-and-so's crazy, and not worry about, any blowback or I will take it. Like everyone's just self-aware. They get along. And I have a hard time, honestly. This happened a couple times yesterday because we're still getting to know a lot of these guys, and they're a young team, and there's not been a ton of adversity. There's been some. And I've been impressed. I've said this is reason to believe. They're planting seeds of hope, all of this stuff. But like the interpersonal stuff, I just can't vouch for. But when you see that and you see the certain interactions, you do start to believe more about like, yeah, this is a legitimately close team, which I hope for. I hope everyone can have close friends at work, no matter what industry you're in. Truly. But that stuff is like, you're secure enough. Everyone's okay. Like that's cool. That's how it should be. Because yeah, he's a little different, walking backwards up mountains and blindfolded and trying to get, more spatial awareness and different drills. Like, God bless. Not for me, but it's working for you because you're making all these plays.
I told you off camera one time, but I was like, I went up to him and asked him a question. He's like, I don't talk about scheme. I was like, not really tough, but he was just like, I'm practice mode. My helmet's on already. I'm just like, I gotta go. It's just, he's an interesting cat.
Yeah. I asked him, about Terrell last week. I wrote that story just about, what Terrell still being around. He's giving gifts. He's doing this. What does it mean? Blah, blah, blah. And it was very much like I don't want to say anything wrong. I'm like, hey, this is like as human interest as it get.
Right.
Man to man, there's nothing here that I think anyone's going to be upset about. I'm just asking you about your feelings. Like this is not anything anyone else can speak about. Just I don't know. I've gone back and listened, and sometimes like, oh, that was more honest. It was just the body language was very rich.
Yeah.
Like, am I like, are my pants down? I don't know. Like, what's going on?
He's processing how he wants to answer it. It's kind of funny because in some ways, my interactions with him have reminded me of like the old Patriots linebacking core at the beginning of the Belichick tenure with McGinnis and Brewski, and like good enough players that they know they can say whatever they want, but also like believing in what the coach is telling them and how to deal with the media, that they didn't want to stray too far from that. And I feel like Robert is like, I like the situation. I like my coach. He was the first guy that like kind of indicated I could play. He and Terrell, like you could play in this league. And now I don't want to like run afoul of that. But at the same time, like, dude, you're really good. You can kind of,
you get some equity.
Yeah. I don't think you're going to get tapped on the shoulder and called into the office. I think you're all set.
Yeah. Anyway. All right. Back to the tape, because we said off air, we don't need to spend that much time in the nitty gritty, and we're basically at the hour mark. Their pressure rate, like I said, I had 37%. This is another game, just like the Titans game. I'm like, you don't really feel them like that. Dylan Gabriel got hit twice. Once on a sack, cleanup sack for Anthony Jennings, and then another hit. Then Milton Williams delivered, and it was almost too late. Not in a dirty way, but just like in today's NFL, you're like, I hope he doesn't get a flag because it's just football. Christian Barmore had down for 4 hurries. You could talk me into 5. Milton Williams ahead for 3 pressures. And it just, again, like you want to see them a little bit more forceful. And Milton Williams even said, maybe there's something wrong with me. but I thought we could have impacted the quarterback more. Like, we had a solid win. He's like, I'd rather win and feel bad than lose and feel good for whatever reason about my individual performance, which is great. Another good sign, healthy of luck and blah, blah, blah. Just a good dude, by the way. But like, look, I think if you're the Patriots, you want more than all of the hurry. Oh, quarterback hit, hurry, sack that I have on my charting.
I felt like a little bit of it was, look, you're not going to tell the guy not to get the quarterback, but a little bit of it was a plan of sort of stay in front of Gabriel because he can't see over us. Like, so much, I think so much of what they did in this game was they just looked at Gabriel and they're like, he ain't it, and we ain't worried. So just stay in front of him, hands up. He can't see. There were several times where he just got out of the pocket on his own because he literally couldn't see, and it was get out of the trees and try to make something happen. But yet they didn't let him, I think he had that one run on the sideline in the fourth quarter maybe. But by and large, nothing mobility-wise. As you mentioned, a lot of zone behind it, some disguises to try to confuse them, but I didn't even think it was that exotic. It was just like, you're not good. We are. I know, but I'm just like,
no, you're absolutely right.
Sometimes that they sit there and they look at it and go like, if we let Dylan Gabriel beat us, like, don't come to work the next day. Like, that's embarrassing. That shouldn't happen. And it didn't happen. Once that first drive was over, it was a bloodbath.
All right, I got 4 notes left, and I'm going to alternate them really quickly here.
Shoot.
The good. Corey Durden, Joshua Farmer, unheralded. A lot of effort there. A lot of impact against the run. Farmer had the pass breakup. I think it was a shovel pass.
Yep.
Just active. I did not highlight him. I don't know if you did at the end of the last episode. He has deserved a shout out now for a couple of weeks. Not a big way or, the biggest sleeper on the Patriots, best player you don't know. He's a rotational rookie. He was a 4th-round pick and looks like it. But he's getting better, and he plays a lot of effort, and you see him every once in a while, and that's good enough for what his role is. Corey Durden especially, I keep bringing up PFF. One of their highest graded or, highest pressure rates among defensive tackles. Like, again, stuff you'd have to talk me into, and I don't think I'm budging on that one. Yeah. But they're behind Kairos Tonga, but another tackle for loss in a hurry, despite playing a season low 17 snaps. Here's the bad. Callahan Chason, everybody is running at that dude.
Yep.
And he gave up that edge to Gabriel. You're talking about he gets out of the pocket, runs down the left sideline, gets in the red zone. They're moving him around. They're trying to play the cat and mouse game, and the Browns are still like, oh, he's over here. And we're going to run counter, and we're going to bring some pulling guards and just kind of smash you. And Chason stands up to it, like in the way that, I tried to, or in the way that he did to me when I tried to, quote unquote, block him in our last episode. Which
didn't go well for you.
Third of a second. So he's in there, and he's taking it on the way that you need to. It's just he's given up 70 pounds to some of these offensive linemen. It is what it is. All right, another good one. Jalen Hawkins. One-handed interception was sick. I don't – center field play. Insane. Someone, as Twitter always does, oh, is this your first game? No. I think this is a great interception. I think it's insane running one-handed, changing angles, twisting around. Great job by him. Another safety, though, Craig Woodson, we already talked about, missed a tackle. Gave up the touchdown. The second one to David Njoku. Garbage time. Nobody cares. I want to see something from Craig Woodson. I want to see some plays, some disruption here soon. Maybe not as I'm snapping like it has to be tomorrow or Sunday even, but just better than it's been.
I feel like when he has, because I thought it was a pretty good game in Tennessee, and I'm like, okay, like stack, and not that this was a step back, but it wasn't. There wasn't anything noteworthy about it other than, as you mentioned, giving up the touchdown, missing a tackle, like just not making enough plays and sometimes not put in position to make plays. But like you would like to see more because I think there is more there.
Yeah. Do you have anything else to the defense? Or you want to do studs and duds?
I was just actually, I'm kind of going over my notes, but I know we're going to talk about one of these guys, or you are at the end. Fairly quiet day from Harold Landry again.
Yes.
And maybe he is, as I mentioned, the Moses Diggs, Vrabel talking about management. I think he falls into that category as well. They're asking a lot of him. And the fact that, for instance, Keon White was a healthy scratch for the first time in his career. And, that hasn't gone well. And Ponder's a rookie and whatever, like they're trying to find another guy. And they haven't found another guy, and I think it's put a lot on him, and I think maybe he's shown a little bit of signs of wear and tear. We obviously know he got hurt in the Saints game, so he could still be playing with that. And then lastly, Marcus, the missed tackle, okay, but after that, the pass breakup, two actually, if you want to give him the one on the slant that Bond wasn't necessarily sure that the ball was coming to him or wasn't paying attention to it, but he was all over it. As I mentioned, his support and run, like he's having a really good year. Taylor Kyle's asked him the question, should there be nickels? Should that be a position in the Pro Bowl? And again, I don't get like Pro Bowl, whatever. But he's playing at a Pro Bowl level. Like he's playing that well. He's not going to get the notoriety for it because you're going to look at guys like Surtain, who's hurt now, and Gonzalez and whatever, the bigger names, Sauce Gardner, those guys will get all the attention and they'll get the votes. But like he's been their best corner so far. Now, Gonzalez is emerging, but from a week-to-week basis, Marcus has been their best guy.
It's interesting, too, because he is not an elite one-on-one coverage player. Super competitive, like gamer, and that is through the catch, knocking passes out late, and he's physical. And it is a good question because, look, everyone's playing base nickel, have been for years. It's just a matter, you want to play three safety or do you want to play three corner? Patriots very much want to play three corner. And that's partly due to the scheme that Vrabel's installed. It's also due Marcus Jones is good and better than I think they thought he was until they got here, met him, and now he's a captain and he's playing all these different snaps. Incredible conditioning, by the way. Like you go back to that Miami game in 90-degree heat and this and that, plays almost every single snap, which is a long ago example. Does not come off the field. That goes for special teams too. He's another one where like you could probably do a stat head search and one forced fumble with 2 pass breakups and 10 tackles. And how many people are on the list? And like he's 1 out of 4. And I go, okay, it's a lot of arbitrary endpoints and things to pluck out. Dude's a gamer. Like I joke about the compliment, he's a football player. Yeah, an NFL team cuts his checks, but that's what he is. He's a gamer. He's the guy you want. He's super useful and about all the right stuff. So hat tip to him. Studs and duds. I got Drake Maye. Got Robert Spillane.
Yep.
Throw Jalen Hawkins in there. Again, the play itself was just absolutely crazy. Yep. Christian Gonzalez felt really good about. You'd love to go with one more guy on offense. Just Henderson with the fumble's tough. Matt Collins, like you said, like just right place, right time, and that counts for 89 yards.
Yeah, that plays. I'll give it to him. Like you didn't drop it. You made plays. Again, physicality in the run game as well. And then as I mentioned, I would have Marcus on there. He's almost like May at this point. It feels like every week I'm just like, yeah, he's on the list.
Yeah, it's on my list. It's only a bad thing. The Ryan Howard.
Duds. Who you got?
So this was a little bit harder because I just think defensively, like, look, you all play that well.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what else to tell you. But I think I'd have to go with Landry a little bit just with one pressure. And I think, too, he's fighting something. Like, that's just is what it is. But they played a lot of 5 down. They didn't blitz a ton. But he got one-on-ones and didn't come up with a whole lot. Pick Jared Wilson or Will Campbell. We all know dealing with Myles Garrett is no treat. It just is what it is. And then, like, look, I don't know. Like, the whole offense thing is not because I didn't want to pick a stud or a dud. I just don't think they belong in either category. Am I missing anything obvious?
I put him as a dud, and it's not because he did have the.
Oh, wait, hold on. Bryce Behringer.
Well,
we don't talk a lot of special teams in this podcast. This is not a banner day for Jeremy Springer.
So I had pass protection as just a group. They look. It's still too much pressure, even though you ended up with 422 total yards and Drake threw for 280 plus or whatever. I don't need my quarterback getting sacked 6 times, and even if one of them belonged to him, it's still 5 other times. I put Diggs, offensive pass interference, which whatever, but just generally, I thought there was going to be an impact from him. There wasn't.
There was a blatant one too. Like he
he didn't even. There was no fight. There was no argument. Then he gets a call on the next play, so it sort of evened out. Special teams, Schooler penalty. Richie Grant penalty, Marte Mapu penalty, Behringer with the 15-yard shank punt, which led to the second touchdown by Cleveland. And then the second onside kick. They butchered the second onside kick. Like,
yeah,
they're trying to come up with new rules, this 4th and 15 nonsense to replace onside kicks, and it is nonsense because onside kicks are supposed to be hard. You're not supposed to. It's not supposed to be 50% chance or 40% chance or 30. It's supposed to be like an 8% chance. It's a prayer. You're in a hole. You're trying to dig yourself out. You need something lucky to happen. I can't stand that. Just that CFL and whatever they're trying to do there. But that, like, clean that up. That cannot happen. And I have one more for you. And he could have easily been on the studs with how he played in his 30 snaps, but he didn't play in the first quarter. It's Christian Barmore. Mike Vrabel said it's in the past, it's gone. Maybe it is. I'm just saying, for a team that's got the vibes that they've got and that has basically been pretty, there was some Gonzalez questions about the setback, hamstring, whatever, like, and whether that was a radio manufactured story or whatnot. It was talked about quite a bit. And then you, of course, had Diggs way back in the summertime or spring or whatever the hell that was with the boat. But otherwise, the vibes have been immaculate. They're playing really good football, and he's an important guy for you. You've invested a lot of money in him. You sort of built your football team around the idea that the interior was going to be beastly, and you're going to have these 2 cover corners, and that's how the defense is going to work. Everything else is going to fall in behind it. And he did something, and he didn't play for a quarter, and he has been, people don't care, but he's been surly, standoffish. I don't know what phrase you want to use. I know he did your 4-minute drill. You might have been the only person that's had a like real interaction with him since the season started. That's fine. We don't have to be buddy, but there's just something going on there, and I don't know what it is. And maybe this is it, and everything is smooth sailing from here on out, but it's just something that I'll pay attention to. I think you have to.
Yeah, this was my leftover thought is, I think the vibes point is a good one. Hey, we're all rowing in one direction. Why don't you do your part here? And I don't know what happened. Clearly, it wasn't that serious enough where he missed a half or a whole game, or maybe he was fined. I don't know. But it is strange. And like, look, you and I have been around the block long enough, certainly you, to know that like we can separate how people treat the media.
Yes,
it's very different from how you are as a human being. If you don't want to talk to us, keep it short, keep it salty, keep it sweet, whatever. Okay. But there is an element of being surly, prickly with him. When he came out, there was a lot of unfair criticism, I think, about his character as a kid who really was learning a lot of basic life skills when he goes from Philly, where he was turned to football late and super athlete, goes to Alabama, completely different dynamic, gets in a fight with Anthony Jennings the first time he's in the locker room and other teammates in the NFL. Like, there's some catching up to do. And so the immaturity and the lack of life skills was kind of conflated with, oh, he's a bad dude. And there's stuff he's done since when he's been in New England, the incident down Rhode Island, that would go, well, Callahan, I think it's more than that. And I think you might be right. But at this point, it is just at best strange that he had to be suspended for a quarter, and to have that coincide with someone who just like, look, I was the one who went up to him after the game. I said, I at least have an okay shot. He hasn't really talked to me since we did the 4-minute drill. We had some laughs. We hung out. Like, look, it's 4 minutes. It doesn't mean we're friends. It doesn't mean anything other than we had a good interview.
Yep.
That's it. I'm very aware of that. But I wish he at least came off as happier. I know guys in the locker room think he's a hoot, and comes up a lot when I do those other interviews with other people, but it's been harder as of late. And he said, no, I got a meeting, which was like kind of funny, but also like, man, I'm not going anywhere. Like, we're going to be back on Wednesday. We'll be in the locker room Thursday and Friday. If guys aren't wild about that, it'd be weird to me too. But like, look, this is the fact of life. I didn't make the rules. Your coach didn't make the rules. The league did. So we're all here. Would love to get along. Would love to get your side of things and then move on, like Vrabel said. But it's harder when you don't speak for yourself or really speak much. And instead, we just go off of the observations and the vibes. And that's what they've been. So it's a bummer. But hopefully it turns around. He's still a young guy. And
he was.
You're right. I mean, the contract is what it is.
Yeah, he was uber productive in the game. Like, there was one series which he pretty much single-handedly ruined himself, just in terms of his penetration and the havoc that he caused. But
yeah, and look, like that was the other thing. I said, hey, do you have a minute? Which is the standard. Can we talk?
Yeah. And
then it was, can we talk about the game? Like, I'm someone else is going to ask you about it, but for me to get in and like meet you halfway, why don't we just talk about the football? Nope. Got a meeting. Okay. All right. That's what it is. I tried. Did my job. That's what it was.
You know what, though? I think I learned something. Next time somebody wants from, I got a meeting. Giardi, you did what for a meeting? I got a meeting.
It was funny, too, because, like, you could hear other guys in the locker room, and it was like, oh, you going here? Like, someone had a big gathering at their house after that big win. A lot of guys were going. Like, good for you. You've won 5 straight. Go have a few shipyard pumpkin heads or something much better and more expensive that I'm sure we're drinking after the game. He's just, like, walking out on his own. Maybe he went. I don't know. But it just, like, that's all these little pieces you put together and try to figure it out, and hopefully we talk to him Wednesday. Okay. Let me have it.
I'm letting you have it, even though you were right to do it. I was in the middle of a rant in the beginning of the show, and you just friggin' cut me off. We never even got back to the rant. I don't even know what the hell I was talking about. Drake, Pro Bowls, I don't know. It was something. But you were just like, Giardi, you've been talking for like 3 minutes. And I just, I got to stop you. And you were right to stop me. I would do the same to you. But you did it. And
well, I don't really know if I did it. I mean, maybe if I did it like this,
You're not supposed to do that. So now that's a double whammy. Go ahead. Let me have it.
That's the joke. So you gave pass protection to Dud. A very succinct, simple, clear. This group of 5, throw in 6, maybe 7 with the running back and a tight end stink. But special teams.
I didn't say stink.
No. This is okay. Let me have it. You get to sit and listen. I had to sit and listen.
You just cut me off. So
that was the joke. I don't like having to explain the joke. It sullies every joke when you have to explain it, but that was the point of the joke. Then we went to Richie Grant on special teams. We had to go down all of the penalties to explain to the people that special teams stunk. I kept it at the punter. That's not fair to Bryce Behringer. But we all saw it go 15 yards. Okay, 45 feet is the furthest that ball went and set up that touchdown. Jeremy Springer, I even threw it on the coach. All this is bad. Like the onside kick was probably a good mention. We don't need to go down every single penalty when we're giving a pass to the offensive line. It's like, you all stink, but you won and move on. Special teams, though, Richie Grant. Don't you dare come back with more of that performance like you did on Sunday.
As you know how I feel about the kickers in general. I don't like to say their name. I kind of feel the same way about special teams guys. Just do like Julian Ashby last week. I was like, I don't need to ever hear your name. Just snap the ball. None of these false starts crap. If you make a tackle, great. But just do the thing that you're being paid to do. Richie Grant, you're up here for one reason and one reason only. You're backup safety because Kyle's not playing. But you're not really going to get out there to just go fill the special teams role. You can't have a penalty.
He was a draft crush back in the day. UCF.
I liked him a lot too. Yep, liked him a lot.
Really liked him. Have not said a word to him yet in the locker room. Trying to get around to a lot of guys, and sometimes they're there, sometimes they're not. Hopefully, say hello to Richie and profess my pre-draft love for his college tape.
And then ask him why he got called for a penalty.
I mean, you care more about that. I don't like to say special teams guys' names, but let me give you 5 right off the top. All right, Dad Pod. This is a new quick segment. I am having a child maybe as soon as this week. She might arrive next week when the due date is, and I'll be taking a break on the podcast. Thank you to everyone who has joined over the course of this hour plus. There are 3,000. We're going to do a mailbag. It's not live in the comments anymore. These are beforehand, but first we have Dad Pod. So my parents came to visit. Oh, by the way, these will be stories about me just getting absolutely, literally shit on and beat on and me asking you for advice. 2 kids.
By the way, there you go again. It's 1 hour and almost 20 minutes in the pod, and then you swear. No swearing.
I know. I'll sorry to the old man waking up at 4:30 in the morning and watching this on YouTube, which I genuinely appreciate. Start your day with a cup of coffee and a cup of Callahan. Anyway, so until she arrives, these are the stories I have. My parents came down for a quick visit, and we had a lovely day. Went to a farm where it's like kind of part farmer's market. We went to a bookstore, went to lunch, went to my favorite bar around the corner with my wife, and the bartender's like, it's finally a place you can say you're regular. And it comes up like, we haven't shared the name yet. We gave them, a couple letters that it could start with. And they're like, can you tell us the runner up? Because they knew we had 2. I was like, sure. So we tell them the runner up. My parents are very good, very nice people. Go, oh. That was it. I was like, okay, glad. I mean, maybe that's the smart move, just to tell them. Like, you could just make up, like Xerxes. And then that way, any name that comes after Xerxes is going to sound better for your newborn, so far unborn daughter is going to be that. And Xerxes was not the runner up, but you know what I mean? Like, set the bar low. But that really actually was close. Like we were doing days of, is it more of a this day or is it more of a that day? What do you think? And obviously more of the that day went out because that's what her name's going to be, which we'll share soon. But it just, I like couldn't laugh when they did that because it didn't even register. I was like, oh, wow, they really hate it.
My father-in-law is like, he's just a great dude, just great, like very straightforward. He was a math professor. He's the head of the math department at Cleveland State for 1,000,000 years. And like, just salt of the earth, just like a good, solid dude, doesn't like overreact to anything. Just like really just like he plays his golf game. Everything's right down the middle. It's just, and when we were coming up with names for my daughter, that was the first child, we were throwing some different things out. We were kind of struggling for a while. And his daughter mentioned to him a name that was on the table. I've never seen that man. He was like, "Oh, that's a terrible name. Like you can't name it." I don't know the backstory. I don't know if he went on a date with a girl. I can't remember the name now. It's been too long. Marguerite. I don't know. Who knows what it was. But just the reaction to him, like I've never seen him react like that before, and I've never seen him react in the 22 years since. Like that was he was like, "Don't you dare name your child that," and I was like, okay.
That's an X for sure.
I'm like, he doesn't speak up often. Certainly not to that extent.
What was the name?
I can't remember. It was too long ago. I'm sure his daughter does remember. I do not. We ended up naming my daughter after my grandmother and my mother. It was kind of like a combo platter. She called her a name. My grandmother called my mom a name, shortened name, and we just comboed it. Not she called her. I'm sure she called her names too at various points during her time. But yeah, like so that worked. It made my mother cry. Like that was we had a home run with that one.
Do you ever think about like, I mean, you don't remember the name, so I guess this is an unfair question, but like, does the name mean anything other than just like what that person is? You know what I mean? Like it doesn't matter once the name is there. It's just like, because right now it's such a weighty decision. It's like that will be how this person is known and identified, and everyone does this. Like I'm not saying this as if it's, but you know what I mean?
Yeah, so what I remember with my daughter, it was like we had some good choices, like other than the one that my father-in-law just despised.
Yeah, Gertrude really was down on Gertrude.
When the name came up, it was like, that's it. That's the right name. Like it was not like the conversations in weighing this, and does it fit with the last name, and what would you use for a middle name, and like what's the sort of, because some of the names had no like connection. Trinity was a name that was thrown out that I liked more than, because that's where we went. So it was like there was that part of it, but then there's the religious.
Did The Matrix come out yet? Yeah, no, it definitely did.
Oh, had it?
Yeah, that was 2000, 2001.
Okay, yeah, but I probably didn't see it till like 2008 because that's how I operate. But
it's a cool character.
Yeah, very cool character. So yeah, and then my son's name was like literally like not argument, but like name it after you. And I'm like, we're not naming the boy after me. He's got his own problems. He doesn't need my attachment to it. He's already got my genes, and like going through the name book 1,000,000 times. Like I swear I read different name books, like front to back, back to front. And then one night it was like, what about this? It was the last name first then. Bingo. Done. So
it's a good one.
Yeah.
I have, we've joked because my wife's, and we're going to get to football here in a second. Though no, we picked up people since we started talking baby names. My wife's brother and I share a name. The two of us also share a name with her dad. So it is a miracle that I am sitting here talking to you about being married to my wife, and like that I share a male name with the two people closest to her and her family. But if we ever named our child Andrew, I don't think we would see her family ever again, because holidays would just be an unholy mess of what? Who is it? You need me? Oh, it's me. Like I'm Callahan in that family. Like that's it. And like, look, that name is like kind of cut out of the market anyway. And like whatever, you can call me Andrew, call me Callahan, whatever. But I do not answer that in the house. And it's caused some confusion. So we couldn't do it. Wouldn't even do an AJ or, whatever. Hunter Henry named his kid Ace. I was like, yeah.
I mean,
but I don't like it. You're your own person. You have your own name. Like you said, like none of my troubles. You got enough for me. So that's fair.
Right.
I do have a name picked out.
Hunter Henry, and you're an NFL tight end for a decade, and you're 6 foot, whatever, 5 or 4, whatever he is. Good chance that Ace is going to be 6'3", 6'4", and going to be a really good athlete, and like going to go play major college football or basketball someplace. And like Ace is a good name. Like that's, like got to weigh that out. Like I had 15, 20 years down the road when he's being recruited. Got to tell you about this prospect, Ace Henry. I'm in. Sign me up.
A kid's going to be juggling girlfriends in high school. Just put it like that.
Yeah, he'd be living right.
All right. Happy National Tight Ends Day, where we speculate about your infant children and their futures in sports on high school. Let's go back to real football. We're only going to take a sampling. We got a lot of questions here from Twitter and Blue Sky. That's where I'm going to be asking for questions before we go live every Monday like this. By the way, if you've liked the show, and we have a lot of people hanging around right now, subscribe to the YouTube channel. You find everything there in small snippets. I talked a lot about trade targets. My last episode with Dan Pizzuta. It's @_Andrew Callahan. My full name, @_Andrew Callahan on YouTube. Subscribe to Patriots Press Pass for all the CLNS media stuff. And we appreciate you hanging out here on a Monday. Pat's Cap wants to know. People know Pat's Cap. Do you expect any Patriots to be extended during the regular season? He's trying to get ahead on his work here.
It's a good question, because I think there are some legitimate candidates. Obviously, I talked quite a bit about Marcus Jones. He would be someone that if his body can hold up, which is a big thing. So maybe you're not even though the play has been really good, you're probably not necessarily, if you're Vrabel, Cowden, Wolf, you're not necessarily jumping into it in this very moment. And he's also smaller. So you probably think to yourself, well, even if he gets the open market, like how much of a demand will there be? But he's someone that I think clearly with his play and being a captain, that they appreciate his play and leadership, that he would be someone that I would consider. I was also talking with our good friend Mike Reese, who made an appearance on this pod verbally the last time we did it, about Khyiris Tonga. 2-10. Who says no?
Like 2 years, $10 million?
Yeah. Let's call it 6.5 guaranteed, 5.5 guaranteed. Khyiris has been on, is this his fourth team? Fourth or fifth team?
I mean, Tonga is the answer if someone says no.
Right.
But you're not far off.
The only thing that I could think of that would prevent the Patriots from thinking about something like that is if they really like Farmer that much and say, like, Farmer could assume some of Khyiris's snaps, and Farmer's a really strong dude, but he's not built like Tonga. I mean, Tonga's great.
He's just, he'll be on the show at some point too. Taylor had him on.
Yes.
They did a great interview. And
I love talking to him today. I think he's actually talking about Farmer, a big brother, little brother thing. Like, he's like, when I came in the league, I had some great vets, Bilal Nichols and Akeem Hicks. He's like, they really took care of me, treated me well. And now I'm in this position, and Josh is my locker mate, is next to him. And he's like, he's funny as hell. And I got treated well, and I want to make sure he gets treated well. So I'm trying to do for him what they did for me. And like, his story's pretty unique. It's pretty cool. But I just wonder, for someone who's bounced around as much as he has and now found a home where they clearly like him, value what he's doing, that if they said to him, hey, would you like to be here for the next couple of years? You probably could get a little bit more on the open market, but you move from place to place and town to town. And like, this is going to be your role, and you're good at it. And we like you. You fit. Like, I don't know. Like, he'd be someone I would.
You have the money.
Yeah. He'd be someone I would talk to, like, right now. I would be, because I think even though he didn't play a ton in his previous spots, he's always played fairly well. This is a different level for him, but it's a better scenario for him. It's a better situation.
Similar situation. Guy who is on his third team in 3 years, maybe 4. Might have been a cup of coffee in a practice squad or a 53-man roster. Chason.
Mm-hmm.
That is a harder market to project because of all of the pressure, and it's a premium position. He's still only 26, younger than Keon White, believe it or not. First-round pick, coming into his own. There is an element of, hey, you did it here. Why don't you stay with us? You know this works. But it might be also, hey, I always believed this was possible. Now it's here. I can go anywhere. Doesn't matter. It finally happened. I've even joked with people within the team about this. And it was during the summer. I was like, why don't we get these extension talks now? He's good.
I mean, you were basically his agent this summer. I mean, you fell in love with him.
Yeah. I get one guy. I give myself one guy a summer.
You're like, you didn't even, yep.
Yep. Not unabashed. And here's the thing about this too. Like there are, the people who are in charge of the cap and everyone in the front office, like they're looking at this years out. So this is not an immediate, we have to keep this guy, let's sign him right now. This will be good. You keep him for the long term. What is the trade-off going to be? Because you have guys, you mentioned Marcus Jones, relevant because he's in the 2022 class. He's in the last year of his contract. He is extension eligible.
Yep.
The guys in the 2023 class who you might want to keep around if you're listening or watching, Christian Gonzalez, Keyshawn Boutte, Mario Douglas, are not extension eligible right now. That'll happen next offseason. But presumably they want to sign Christian Gonzalez to this big, giant deal, and they should. Granted, the pain in year one is not going to be significant because that's how these deals go. But you still have to balance all of those things in 2026 and 2027. Oh, and Drake Maye will be up around then too. So I'm all for them keeping good players. I think they should. I think we all want them to spend money. And we know sometimes it's been an issue. But look, under the last two regimes and leaderships, like they spent a lot more money since Bill left. And I'm not having a debate or who's responsible for how much and why and this and that. But I'm encouraged. I hope they get it done because also they've talked a lot about, and this only helps Chase on his actual agent. Forget me. Yeah, we'd like some more help on the edge. Which leads me to my next mailbag question. Who would you like to see the Patriots target at the trade deadline? I talked about this a lot last week. This is a big swing. So for the people saying they need to make a big swing, they're going for the Super Bowl, here it is. This is my pitch. I don't think they'll agree, but there's logic in here. Jalen Phillips from Miami. Premium player at a premium position, 26. His market will be depressed because of his injury history. Don't let him get to the open market. Trade for him. We value you. You're with a winner. You come here, you get good coaching, and you stay in, and we'll pay you, and we'll figure it out in the offseason, but stay here. But do it now to start that recruiting and go get him. And I understand there's risk there in case he walks. But you got the money, and that'll help address the position you need now and in the future, even if he's in the last year of his deal in Miami.
Can I share with you a name that's also in the division, which also makes it, again, a little bit more challenging?
Oh, yeah.
Jermaine Johnson. Jets obviously blew
up.
Is there
any character stuff there, or is this?
I have heard nothing but good things.
Okay.
So,
Forget I said that.
No. I think there was some rumblings about that early on, but he has fit in. He's come back from the Achilles, and he's played fairly well for them this year. It's sort of in the Phillips vein of coming off an injury. He's not the player that he's going to be next year. So, I don't know. It's obviously Patriots-Miami trades. There was one just a few years ago for Devontae Parker. Forgettable, but nonetheless, it happened. Bobby Greer was the GM then. There's some familiar ties with Groh and Wolf still here. The Jets, it's a different animal. We talked about Breece Hall running back and that possibility. Does it cost more because it's the Jets? Would they consider it? But they haven't had conversations with Johnson or anything that's gotten any sort of traction in terms of an extension. And he's one of those guys where I think the Jets probably think they can buy low on and get the extra year or two out of him in that regard. But again, if they're not finding common ground, do they get to the point where they just say, what he wants and what we're willing to pay him for what we think he is, we're just not going to do.
Who's taking a team-friendly deal with the Jets?
By the way, sometimes the best deals you make are the ones you do. You know what I'm trying to say.
You don't make.
Jamie and Sherwood, who was the choice at linebacker here and decided to go back to the Jets, and you pivoted to Spillane, benched this past weekend by the New York Jets after they signed him to a very healthy contract. And he's a 25-year-old. I know they won this weekend. I know they scored 23. They gave up 38. They're not good. And he couldn't get on the field.
Do a couple quick hitters here.
Yes.
And then we'll move over. These are all from Blue Sky so far. Why was Ethan Chisholm inactive after being active for 2 weeks? And the answer is he was there basically to be a kick returner, and he wasn't very good at it. So this is, again, he's on the roster because he's good enough to be on the roster, but there's a developmental plan here. And same thing that they kept Julian Edelman around for the first couple of years to do the easiest cliche comparison. We all know why. But look, that's it. and you need a bigger body back there to break some tackles, because that's really what being a kick returner is more about right now. Any disagreements or details to add?
No. I think you and I texted before, and I was like, I
Yeah.
don't think they can run him back out there. And it wasn't like he wasn't awful at it. He just there was no juice there.
Yeah. Sounds like the Patriots plan to sign Anthony Jennings to the 53-man roster this week. Do you think that's a good move?
Terrell Jennings.
Terrell Jennings, thank you.
They already have him.
Terrell Jennings, running back, who was it 15 yards in that last drive?
Yeah.
Terrell Jennings to the 53 from the practice squad. He's out of elevations. Okay.
Yeah.
Do you think it's a good move? Yes. How do they open up a roster spot for him?
Caden Wallace? Question mark. I mean, as I look at the roster and I go through the 50, I mean, he's got to be the 52nd or 53rd guy on.
He was when they made final cuts.
Yes. Yeah. He barely survived that. You and I have talked about that. So that would be the question then becomes, what do they have on the practice squad when they look at Caden? Do they say who Rupsick is on the practice squad now? There's a few offensive linemen on the practice squad. Do they say it's the same right now? I don't think that because he was a third round pick a year ago, I don't know that you'd be able to cut him and get him back on the practice squad. And I know I'm generally you get pretty much everyone back to the practice squad. I just 1 year removed from being a third round pick, new regime, someone would look at that and say, I mean, there's plenty of bad offensive lines in the league. Just go, we had him on in our top 100 a year ago, just claim him and we'll see, so, but that would be my guess. The other thing I would say is Vrabel was a little squirrely when he was asked that question, in that he wouldn't just definitively, he said yes, but didn't say full on, yeah, no, he's a no brainer. It's a procedural thing, which makes me still think we still got some calls out there. There's still a possibility that something would happen before the deadline. And maybe this speeds that process up, because it's something if you're going to have Terrell elevated, you've got to do it this week. So I don't know, just ran through my head.
There was a report that they signed, I want to say Joshua Ward, to their practice squad today. And it's only official that they worked him out among some other guys. That's per Reese and per Doug. And, we'll see where that goes. But parts are moving. So we'll find out soon. My other thought is just how many edge guys they have on the roster. And Elijah Ponder's not been all that great. He's an undrafted rookie, but they believe in Caleb Murphy. They just signed.
Yep.
Maybe there's some shuffling, or Foxborough flew for a couple of weeks to kind of figure it out. We'll see. We got a couple questions about the defense being bad against opening scripts. We talked about that. Basic mistakes. Opponents really executing shot plays really well every single week. And just every team's got something to figure out, and that's what theirs is. So it's not like they're not trying. They went to extra efforts and had Ben McAdoo script something, a starting drive on Wednesday where they were in practice. They're talking about it. They're trying to work on it. It's just it hasn't gone to plan, obviously. But they've been a top 5 defense through the last 3 quarters. Not what people want to hear. It's just what it is. Let's see. How bad would it be to not invest in this team? And 5th and 6th round picks. This is from LP81. Pick swaps for running back, safety, edge depth. Anything there? If they did nothing, how disappointed would you be?
I don't think I'd be disappointed, because I think when we talked about this last week, you and I both are pretty adamant that they're not going to give up top picks. The first, second, third round, to me, I think that's over here, and you would have to take something really special to make them move off that. But the day 3 stuff, I mean, they have the couple second rounders, as you mentioned. I could see something like that, but I don't know that I would sit there and go, I can't believe they didn't do anything. If they really do believe that Terrell Jennings is capable, more than capable, if something were to happen to Ramondre in particular, because the similar skill set in terms of being a between the tackle guy, then who am I? I mean, they've had a better view of him for the last 2.5 months in practice than anybody else. And do they look at other people and say, is that really an upgrade? Now, to me, the edge thing is the one where I'd still like to see them add, but that has to be, I don't know that that's the depth thing. That's more of go find someone who you can say it's Landry, it's Chason, and it's this guy. those are the three that we're mixing in these situations, like rotational piece. Like we're going to use him.
Is that quality depth though?
Yeah,
it's not like somebody with a pulse. Like I know what you're saying, but I think that still counts as depth because you lose one of those two guys, and your edge situation is suddenly real bad.
Sure. I mean, I guess what I'm saying is I'm looking for someone who you would consider like a starter-ish, borderline starter player. But those names are hard to like. I've looked, and
you're going to have competition. Bucks,
yeah.
Chiefs,
Well, that's the thing. Like, and maybe once again, maybe because Cincinnati lost, and if they were to lose again this weekend, then maybe Hendrickson does pop free, and then that changes the. Because to me, he's the big chip. Because it doesn't seem like Max Crosby's going anywhere. But if Hendrickson becomes available, there's going to be a swarm for that. And then that's when you slide into the lower level and maybe you get somebody else that sort of would have been the apple of someone's eye, but because Hendrickson's available or Phillips, as you mentioned, like maybe that's where you can pivot.
This is not going to happen. I'm going to say this in the front end. Capital N-O-T, going to happen. Did you do Myles Garrett for 2 firsts in a second?
No.
Wow.
I wouldn't. Well, all right. Can I put an asterisk on that?
Sure.
So Vrabel was there last year. So Vrabel would know more about Myles Garrett personality, Myles Garrett off the field, because there has been some stuff off the field.
Or is there more?
Well, there's just like I'm committed to this team, I'm a leader, and then not showing up. That's been a repeated thing of his. And even after when he got the contract, he declared like those days are gone. And then within like 2 weeks, he didn't show up for something. So like, that's just, he's operating on his own timetable and maybe, or whatever, in his own program. And when you're that good, maybe you can. And, Mike Vrabel would just be like, look, man, as long as you're not late, like, and you play like this, we can do that. But that's still a lot to give up for a team that is in their first year of a rebuild. And they feel that way, even though they're 6-2 and it could be 12-5 at the end of the regular season and hosting a home playoff game. Like it'd
be like pick 22 to 29.
It's just that you're giving up 2 and then a second, and it's the cost control of those 2. And like everyone else, they believe in their ability to draft players, whether that is true or not. With a lot of these teams, you can make the argument you'd be better off taking the guy that you know who's really good versus the guy that you don't know, but they all think that they're smart and they figured this thing out. And then, 50% of these guys end up out of the league in 5 years or as a backup. And you're like, really? We spent the 22nd pick on so-and-so? N'Keal Harry?
He might as well have been N'Keal Henry.
Yeah, I mean,
I think 21.6% of New England would be pants off if that deal happened.
I think it would be higher than that, especially after what just happened. I mean, God, like I'm not, dude. If they did it, okay, you've changed the timetable, but then you better be right when you change the timetable, because now you are impacting your ability to shape a team going forward based on high collateral that you've given up. Like, look at, hey, just, and it's way too early. We've talked about it on the show. Your 3rd round pick hasn't done anything on the football field. Up until this past weekend, your 2nd round pick had been incredibly underwhelming on the football field. So we all looked at that draft and we're like, whew, and everybody, like nationally, was like, whoa, did they kill it? Well, again, way too early to judge it.
Yes.
But we have the evidence of 8 games, and the evidence of 8 games says underwhelming. They underwhelmed in this draft. Their 5th round pick, Swinson, who maybe was my favorite pick of them all, he got cut and he's on the practice squad, right? And
you're talking yourself into this. You're making the case already from 5 minutes ago.
Maybe a little bit.
All right. We got to be quick on this because I kept you too long and I got to go.
You have been a media whore today. 6 to 10 on
media whore if it's your job.
6 to 10 on Toucher and Rich, and now you're going to go do after the 2. Oh, Toucher and Hardy. Hey, I'm not on that show. I
And
don't
he's asleep now, so Fred definitely didn't hear it.
That's
Also lied about probably lied about not being able to make it back today.
allegedly,
Allegedly.
potentially.
I mean, look, I was in there filling in for a reason. It wasn't because he made it back.
But now you're gonna go do BST.
Half hour for a full paycheck? Yeah. Hell yeah. Hang out with Michael Holly, who I don't see anymore because I'm only in on Thursdays, and it's just me and Felger just over and over again. All right, this one's from Ed. Ed pops in every once in a while. Ed's got like the highest hit rate. Good questions. And I know we missed a couple of here for people who listen. See if we can get to you later in the week. How surprised? No. He starts, be honest now. Period. How surprised are you with the Patriots' success so far this season? Scale of 1 to 10.
8. I thought they were an 8-win team. And then when I said, you're going to be an 8-win team, yeah, things could go right. You could be 10. Things could go wrong. You could be 6. They're 6-2. As I mentioned, they're kicking the crap out of bad teams. Like all my toes are in. All my hairy, ugly-looking toes are in. Hey, it's 2 hours into the pod, for God's sake.
I know. And I started it. So we're full circle, and I appreciate you coming full circle. I'll go with an 8-2. I mean, it can go a little bit lower. Like I was saying before the season, I could see 5-0. I could see 0-5. And it was just the nature of the coin flips on the schedule, and you get one bad injury and this and that. It wasn't, anything to do with my belief in Drake Maye, which, for years now has been very, very strong. Mike Vrabel, I think, is a top 10 coach, documented, punches above his weight, all these different things. That stuff has come to fruition. It's just the NFL. And they've had some coin flip games, and they've won them, and now they're blowing out teams. And they're tied, by the way, with the Colts for the best record against the spread, which now this is our whole governor and our prism through which we view sports now. It's just whatever the sports books say and do. But it's important to note that not only are they winning games, they're doing so in a way that they are blowing out their opponents more than they're expected to. And that, to me, is the sign of a team that's not only exceeding expectations, but is actually good. So cheers to them, 6-2.
And quickly, it was about 10 weeks ago after the joint practices with Minnesota, where they internally sort of pumped the brakes on all the enthusiasm and all the talk about double-digit wins. Now, here they are, 6-2, and we're talking about, would you trade for Myles Garrett, and are they a real championship contender, and is Drake Maye a legit MVP candidate? Like, it's the league. Stuff happens.
Well, you're about to take your pants off and go think more about Myles Garrett in a Patriots uniform, but we thank you for waiting this long and showing this much discipline. If you missed earlier parts of the show, @_Andrew Callahan on YouTube, Patriots Press Pass on YouTube. Just subscribe. Everything's there. We did a lot more trade talk earlier this week. You can watch that video. You can watch the smaller ones, the interviews with Kayla Chason, who swats my hand away in 0.3 seconds when we talk about how long and how many of me-looking dudes, quote unquote, it would take to block him. Christian Barmore was on. We had Harold Landry. We had an awesome one with Pop Douglas, a.k.a. my name Leonard, when he's in an Uber. A lot of these guys have Uber aliases. This is not like the go-to question. You were, what was it last week? Umberto?
Yes.
I've not used Clarence yet as my alias at Chipotle, but it's on my list for this week.
You're such a Clarence.
Such a Clarence. All right. Thanks, pal.
All right, buddy.